If you are resitting maths or English, there's a 1 in 5 chance that you will pass. Or put another way, there's an 80% chance that you will fail again. In this video, I'll explain why most resit students fail again, and I'll also be sharing the secret to how to stop this from happening to you. If you failed GCSE maths or English, then this video is for you. For those of you who are new to the channel, hi, I'm Varjod. I'm the founder of Mobile Tutors, and every year we help thousands of students increase their GCSE and A-level grades. I scored 98% in most of my GCSE and A-levels, and I hold a first-class degree from the London School of Economics in Business, Maths and Statistics. So let's get into it. So let's start with the cold hard facts. In 2024, out of nearly 186,000 students resitting GCSE maths, only 17.4% passed with a grade 4 or above. And for the GCSE English resits, out of 149,000 students who sat the exams again, only 21% of them passed. So what this shows us is that most students will fail again, and there's only a 1 in 5 chance that you will pass. So put bluntly, let's say there's 100 people in your exam room who are resitting with you, 80 of them will fail. So what is happening? Well, let me explain. So this is typically what happens. As a year 11 student, you do your exams in June and you wait until August to get your results. In August, you find out you failed maybe maths or English or even both. And what you do is you go ahead and enter yourself for the November resits. You do this because November is the soonest that you can do your exams. So you think, let me go ahead and try doing them as soon as possible. Now you go ahead, you do your exams in November, and then you have to wait all the way until January to get your results. And what happens for most students is that in the January results, you find out that you failed again. Now, once you found out that you failed again in January, what you'll do is you go ahead and you enter yourself in for the June exams because this is the next set of exams. And that's it, the cycle repeats. And I like to call this the resit cycle. Now what this is, it's a long loop of students doing the exam in June, then finding out in August that they fail. So then they go ahead and do the November resit, wait until January to get the results. And then in January, they find out they fail. And then they go ahead and they go back for the June exams. And this is an everlasting loop. And the thing is that most of these students will keep failing. Now the reason this keeps happening is so simple and obvious, but most students don't see it or they just ignore it. And that is that the reason they keep failing is because they don't give themselves enough time to prepare. Now think about it. You've done your exams in June and you wait over 2 months until August just to find out that you failed. So in these 2 months of waiting for your results, your maths has actually gotten worse because in these 2 months you've done no maths at all. And once you get your results in August and you find out that you failed, you only have 2 to 3 months left before the November resits to actually go and get a better level than you did back in June. Now this won't usually happen because you only have a few months to prepare for these exams and the chances of you getting a better grade than you did in June are extremely low. And to be honest, you'll be lucky to even get the same marks or same grade as last time with such little time to prepare, let alone trying to get a better mark or grade than you did back in June. So I know a lot of you will say that it won't be hard for me to revise everything because I've learned it a little while ago and everything will just come back to me. Well, I'm sorry to break it to you, but this is not the case, and this is the exact reason why only 1 in 5 students pass. And this happens because those students who resit are amongst those students who don't like the subject or maybe are just not the best at it. So when they prepare for the exams the first time, they're literally forcing themselves to learn everything. And then once the exams are over, they'll just forget everything. So what I'm saying is that there's little chance that you will prepare up to the same level as you did last time. And this is the exact reason why I know students who have failed time and time again come to us, but they just don't seem to agree with this idea. And now here's where it gets even worse. Let's say you go for a resit and you fail again. Now you're even more disheartened and demoralized, so you have to work even harder to pick yourself up and go again. And I get it, it can be extremely demoralizing having to do this time and time again just to wait 2 months to find out that you failed again and then having to repeat this all over. And this is why it gets worse over time, because you're getting more and more beaten down and it's harder for you to pick yourself up. And I know I said it already gets worse, but it actually gets even harder because you don't have all of the time to revise for this one exam. A lot of these students have other courses like college courses or other qualifications to study for, so you can't spend all of your time focusing on this resit. And that's why it's actually very hard for a lot of students to focus and get a pass. So now I hope you understand why it happens and why it can be demoralizing, but let's delve into the root cause in more detail. As I mentioned earlier, the root cause is that students do not give themselves enough time to prepare. They wait for their results to arrive before they start preparing. So by the time your results come, it's already crunch time for the next exam. Let me break this down in a bit more detail. From your results in August, if you fail, you have around 8 to 10 weeks maximum to prepare for your November resits. So your results come in January, and if you fail again, you'll go ahead and do your exams in June. But let's be honest, most students won't just start preparing straight in January. Students will normally wait a month or two and start preparing in February or March, which will mean you only have around 2 to 3 months again to prepare for your June resits. So in a whole year, you've only revised for around 2 to 3 short sprints. And this is not enough time to build real understanding. especially for subjects like maths and English where consistency matters most. Students have no real strategy and no time to actually improve. And as I said before, these same students have so many other things to revise for and your life gets busier. So this exam feels even more like a nightmare. And this is the problem with the delays in receiving your results. You do your exam in June and then wait 2 months all the way until August just to find out your results, and then you find out you failed. And this is the same for the November exams. You do your exams in November and you wait a few months until January just to get your results again to find out you failed. So overall, you're spending large chunks of time just waiting for results and you're actually not progressing in these subjects. You're actually getting worse over time. And this is actually one of the reasons why students get lower marks in their resits, and it feels like they're actually getting worse over time. So now we've spent enough time understanding the problem and why it happens, let's go over the solution and how to break the cycle. Now the solution is simple, and that is that you should not wait for results day to start preparing. If you know an exam didn't go well, you should start revising immediately. Every week you wait is a week that you fall behind. So if you think you failed the exams, then treat those exams like mocks, and then treat the next resits as if they were your final exams. So for example, let's say you think you failed your June exams, just treat those as mocks and think that your real exams are the ones that are coming up in November, which will be your resits. So what you need to do is you need to put all of your time and attention into preparing for these November exams as if they were your real GCSEs and these are actually your final exams. And this way you won't waste time waiting for results and you'll actually improve over time. This will actually increase your chances of passing because you'll no longer have periods of no revision, and in fact you should actually see your marks going up over time because you're continuously improving your maths and English. And here's another tip. If you're seriously behind and you don't think you're going to be ready for the next set of exams, then don't do them. Now I know this is contrary to what your teacher might say, but I always advise students not to rush into a resit. And the reason I say this is because if you know you're not ready, don't rush into doing a resit, because if you fail, you'll be even more demoralized. You're better off just preparing properly and going in for the exam at a later date, whether that means skipping the November resits and going in for the June entry. Now I know this is against what most students, parents or teachers might say, because what they would normally say is just go in for the exam as soon as possible. But if you're not ready, then what is even the point of going in to do it? This is especially the case for those students who got a grade 1 or 2. If they got a grade 1 or 2, they're so far off a grade 4 pass, then what are the chances that they're going to be able to achieve this in just 2 to 3 months of revision and rushing in for the November resit? On the other hand, if you got a grade 3 and you're quite close to a grade 4 pass, then of course you can go ahead and do the resit as soon as possible. So I hope I've managed to explain the most likely reason why you keep failing your exams, but what's more important is that you understand the solution. So what you need to do is you need to keep revising and preparing during the periods when you're waiting for your results, and trust me, if you do this, you'll pass next time. And if not immediately, maybe a few times after. Stop waiting and start preparing. Break the cycle, because the next resit doesn't have to be another failure. Thanks for watching.